Grandmama used to pray, oh Lord, please save them from the evil snares and all the dangers that entangle. Yea, though they walking through the valley of the shadows, just prepare and make them fit for every battle. Because I know they bound to come, and I know they bound to fall, but in your bounty, Lord, preserve their beautiful. Right, we still surviving off of grandma's prayers, surrounded by the jungle and the lion's den. Tread light, cause these traps is inconspicuous. They hiding right in plain sight, thinking we don't see them when they linger. Look right beneath the surface, then leave a trail of corpses. Crisis, prices, your life a disposable commodity. Like living in a fantasy, conditioned to believe that the system even cares. Whether selling CDs or walking or driving or reading, look, they don't even need a reason. It's just you breathing and being black. When it's such a pretty fall, it don't seem like we falling at all, at all. It's just a GMO dream, where things are never really what they seem. Please cue the violins, tell them just to play me something pretty. Cause this gritty city got me screaming bloody murder. Said it got me screaming. This gritty city got me on some. Look, get your hand up on my pocket. Distraction, so lazy they use the same tactics. Like condom with some trinkets, just don't let them get to thinking. That light bulb gets a blinking. You know niggas and ideas. Oh dear, my dear, you may not know me, but I know you very well. Foresight, they say hindsight is 20/20. Well, tell me something, we gotta see that history is on repeat. And maybe it takes a beat and a melody to speak a little louder than the message in the clouds or the essence in the air. I swear, my God is just so clear that a system driven by fear can never give us nothing but more of the same things. Oh, when it's such a pretty fall, it don't seem like we falling at all. It's just a GMO dream, where things are never really what they seem. Please cue the violins, tell them just to play me something pretty. Cause this gritty city got me screaming. It's murder. Got me screaming, got me. This gritty city got me on some.
best weapons don't need ammunition. How the last lesson escape retention. Ready where I'm from, but it's not about training. It's about black folk in a living condition. When I crack smoke in a high school kitchen. Freshman pitching for the superintendent. Black church works by soul admission. See the black hearse, that's death extension. Black folk first, we don't start thinking. Kool-Aid drinking, Jim Jones
Hey, we've had some break-ins in my neighborhood, and there's a real suspicious guy. Did you see what he was wearing? A dark hoodie, and he's a black male.
Yeah, I said it, I meant that shit. Yes, I'm better than whatever you spit. Kicking this shit since when Q-Tip and a Tribe Called Quest left fresh footprints. I am legend, I am 7. Sex or 7, birth black girl heaven. 0110 This is my slow flow, y'all ain't ready yet. I said fuck the cops. Yeah, I said pigs. But what you won't ever hear me say is let them live. Keep killing black men, keep killing black women, and I killing black kids. Yeah, I said it is what it is. Now everybody wanna mobilize, everybody wanna occupy. Nobody wanna say what's really gonna cause this whole wide world to die. Show they wanna ride, yo, show they wanna ride. With a spit of Shino and afraid, with a Mossberg or 12 gauge. I'm not selling out to be paid, or walk this way to portray stereotypes that'll only degrade the type that white supremacy made. I wasn't supposed to talk about race. Oh well, anyway. I said it, 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 I said it.
What's happening? This is RSTV. Usually I come in with a crazy intro and whatnot, but this guy on the side of me, man, I don't think he need too much of an intro. What's going on, Wise? How you feeling today, sir?
Fantastic. Fantastic. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm out here swinging on these blades, man. You know what your man say, swinging on the blades, hoping I don't get cut. Yeah. You already know. For folks who are unaware, and I usually don't say this in front of this brother face, you know what I mean? Because I don't, how these rappers do, their egos get to their head. But one of my favorite MCs on the planet, you know what I'm saying? I respect his lyricism. Wise Intelligent from the legendary Poor Righteous Teachers in the building. I think you've been on here on one of these shows probably like 30 times. I'm just bullshitting. But anyway, happy to have you on. I know you've been busy. What's good with you, man?
Oh man, life is good. Life is good, because we make it good. You know what I mean? We make it good despite the bullshit, but everything's good, man. Everything's good. Family's growing. Everything's progressing,
That's what it is. Yeah. I was looking for videos to choose to push out. And I was gonna do the Illuminati piece, you know what I mean? But then I remembered this one right here, and looking at it, seeing little Che, who you telling me getting his license now.
Right. That's crazy.
Man, that's wild. What was that, like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, that video?
Yeah. It was that was 2013, I think, 2011, 2013, between 11 and 13 for sure.
After the Trayvon Martin piece.
Yeah.
After that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nah, that was definitely hard, and I hadn't heard it in a while, I hadn't seen it in a while, so I thought it was appropriate for the time, you know what I mean? Because it's still what it is. We're here. One thing that I'm grateful for, as I mentioned, of course, I've interviewed a whole lot of people, period. A whole lot of MCs, a whole lot of rappers, freedom fighters, ball players, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it's always refreshing to have folks on that you can actually have a convo with, and it's not just about, them being a one-trick pony or whatever the case is, right?
Mm.
I want to do something different tonight. I want to start by asking you, because this particular show, RSTV, we try to bring different types of perspective. We try to come with a little bit of everything. Sometimes folks love it, sometimes folks don't like it, and there's always going to be at least one hater in the audience. I ain't like his shirt. You know what I'm saying? You probably that shirt don't look like it was made in Africa and all this other crazy shit. But but we don't care. But I wanted to because you come with the name Wise Intelligent. You know what I'm saying? So of course you can't be doing certain things with that name. You could, but at the same time, it comes with a certain amount of weight. So starting off, I want to do something different, and I want to ask you, if you were to say your top five books that you would suggest that any brother, sister, African, whoever would read, five of your favorites, what would you say? I know that's like,
That's tough. That's tough. I mean, that's really tough. But I would start that list with The Falsification of African Consciousness of Dr. Amos Wilson. I will add to that list The Criminalizing of a Race by Shashi McIntyre. The foundational, these are foundational for setting the precedents for social theory. I think, in my opinion, those two for sure. And it depends on who the audience is. So the five books would change based on who the audience is, age group, level of consciousness, so, because everybody, I could put Marimba Ani, Dr. Marimba Ani and Yurugu in in this list as well, but the average person,
should lose them.
Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough because there's so many. The Falsification of African Consciousness, of course. The Origin of African Civilization, Myth of Reality, Sheikh Anta Diop, of course. Foundational joints. For people who are trying to get a handle on knowledge of self, a worldview, a perspective, some seedlings for the development of a social theory. These would be the books that I would go to. So yeah, African Origin of Civilization, Falsification of African Consciousness, Criminalizing of a Race. It's so many. I just want to put, I know what I say is going to make some people going to go get them that don't got them. So I want people to, be able to read through it, not get knocked off the journey. But man, it's just so many. It's so many. I mean, there's so many categories, there's so many levels in society that we have written in greatly as a people, discussing our epistemology, our interpretation of the world, and our justified beliefs about it, that, you can go all over the place, but I would add I would add The Psychopathic Racial Personality by Dr. Bobby Wright. Yes. Definitely would add that.
And that is a slept on, very small read, but very small, powerful. Yes. That lays it out with such a punch.
Yes.
That's always in my top five.
That's the Bruce Lee of those type books, because it's two punches,
Exactly. And if you don't get it, you ain't got it.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And of course, the fifth book that I would add to this group would be 3/5 an MC, The Manufacturing of a Dumbed Down Rapper by myself, of course. I would add that. You know what I mean?
No doubt. And let's start off by talking about that. You know what I'm saying? First off, like I said, I appreciate, you coming on, and definitely the book list. This is something that I want to keep going because I've had some great minds on. What I appreciate about the books that you named is you went to the culture, right? And it is my argument that oftentimes folks get caught up in the politics and they try to set the culture to the side. And for me, it's like half the battle. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, we could be clear about who we are, but we have to be clear about who we are. You understand what I'm saying? We can know the enemy, but you have to know yourself. You know what I mean? And not just say, okay, boom, these are tools that I'm gonna use. The tools are great, but the tools don't make you. You understand what I'm saying? So 3/5 of an MC. Talk about that as Hip Hop Appreciation Month. You know what I'm saying? What's that all about for the folks who in the back and they missed the boat?
Yeah, 3/5 an MC, The Manufacturing of a Dumbed Down Rapper. The book explores how MCs are reduced to a pell of themselves by corporations, mainstream media, whose desire it is to advance a particular narrative around a people. The book ties into some of the books that I just mentioned. The Criminalizing of a Race by Shashi McIntyre. Because they're using hip hop what I lay out is how they're using hip hop to criminalize the black community. So the book basically is it basic? No, I can't even say basically. But the book, is delving into how the state of deprivation that has been created in the black community in terms of material resources, puts young artists in a position where, in the community in general, regardless of your profession, it puts you in a position where, in order to sustain your life with the basic necessities, you are often expected to compromise yourself in some way. And hip hop, the MC, is the unofficial rule. The official, unofficial rule is that, being political, being conscious, rhyming about the things that are happening with context, will prevent you from sustaining your life, from feeding your family. So a lot of the ignorance becomes self-imposed because of this societal paradigm, right? So MCs, they make those choices. Like in the book, I covered, Lloyd Banks. Lloyd Banks was on and did an interview with allhiphop.com, I believe it was. And he said that he's not trying to get political because he's trying to feed his family. And he actually referred to Martin Luther King and everybody that got assassinated for being political, right? And that, it's career suicide, they call it. That's career suicide. So rappers dumb themselves down because of this power relationship, this lopsided power relationship between them and the record company, them and the mainstream media corporations that advance the culture or the platform, hip hop, rap. So the book covers this. The book is basically explaining that, the mainstream MC is 3/5 of what an MC should be. Because the platform was created as a vehicle, a form of media, an alternative. It was like Black Power media, hip hop, rap was like Black Power media. It was a space where we could express our interests, our concerns, our grievances with the society, government world that we live in. You know, we can, our epistemology, our interpretation of the world, and our justified beliefs about it, you know, and major corporations, once they realize the influence and power of this culture, of hip hop culture, of rap music, they had to control it. They had to come in and control it. They had to stop artists from delivering messages that will mobilize people. You know, they saw that during the 90s, you know, when, you know, immediately following Rodney King, you know, and apartheid, South Africa, the protest, you know, hip hop was at the front of those movements. You know, hip hop was at the front of those movements, making music about it in the mainstream, you know, and they said, hey, wait a minute, this is not good, you know, so they shift the paradigm and they began financing only a particular narrative, you know, the sex, money, murder narrative. You know, they started advancing artists that would fit into the historical dehumanization of Black people, you know, so artists that would make the community come across, that they could use to make the community appear to be feeble-minded, criminally deviant, and sexually licentious, drug addicted, you know, and that's what they did, you know, and here we are, you know, deja vu is 1882, you know.
Word.
You know.
So would you say that right now hip hop is being used as a tool of book breaking, using the the title of your book and whatnot? Is it a the industry, not hip hop, but the music industry itself, the entertainment industry, has it morphed into a book breaking tool? Would you say that?
Mm, I mean, it could be viewed that way. It could be viewed that way. However, it's more of a tool that is designed to impede the liberation of the entire group. Whereas buck breaking may focus on the individual, you know,
Yeah, right.
while it was used to plant fear in the community, buck breaking was. But at the same time, this is something that they're doing to the entire world. They're controlling the perception of an entire group. They're degrading and dehumanizing an entire group globally. You know, it's like it's not confined to a plantation in the South. It's global. You know,
Global plantation. Right.
everybody gets to see what's happening with the aim being to justify the next move. You know, justify the next move. You know, this is like in '94 with the crime bill, 1994. You know, they said, okay, these are super predators. You know, they're
Right.
super predators. We have to do something about the super predators out here. You know, this community of super predators need to be contained. They need to be incarcerated. You know, so it justified mass incarceration in a lot of people's minds. You know,
Right.
the way that they used media, and that's what propaganda do. And in hip hop today, in the mainstream media, in the way it's portrayed, the way it portrays Black men, women, it creates this stereotype that justifies the next move. You know, it's all, you know, it's the menticide before the genocide. You know.
Right. Right. Now, I think I heard you say somewhere, I don't know if you told me this or if I heard it somewhere, whatever the case was. I think you said you was the seventh out of 10 children. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, I was making sure I was talking to the right person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I'm an only child. Um, but
For
co-
sure.
coming up in Trenton, you're in the hood, you're in the projects, right?
Mhm.
And I'm on the other side of that. I'm in Bridgeport. Same small, condensed poverty, so on and so forth. What what was that inspiration? What guided you towards quote unquote uh, consciousness, for lack of better words? What was that inspiration? Was it an individual? Was it a group? You know what I'm saying? Did a book fall out the third floor and hit you in the head? Like what happened?
It was all of the above. It was all of the above. So the individual was my brother, Power Israel. And this is when he was about 14. The group was the Nation of God's Nurse, in their presence, the heavy presence in the community of the Nation of God's Nurse, and the book that hit me in the head was my brother's lessons, that he kept on the dresser, so I was about 13, it was 5% popping up everywhere. My brother was 5%. So he would speak completely different from everyone in the household. He was an Asiatic black man. I'm like, nigga, nigga, you are what?
So your brother was like, you go sit your ass down.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? He's like, the black man is God. I'm like, nigga, what?
We're the projects. What you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, so anyway, he got incarcerated. So I used to clown them all the time. I used to clown him, his partner, Refinement. They used to come to the house, and they would be all jokes, man. It would be all jokes. Me and Culture Freedom, before he was Culture Freedom, in the group, we used to clown him. We used to make fun of them. I mean, they say we Asiatic black men. We'd be like, here come the idiotic black men. You know what I mean? That's what we would say. Yo. We were dumb. We were dumb kids, man. You know what I mean? We were really
I couldn't imagine you joking like that.
Yo, we were ignorant. We were ignorant as fuck. You know what I mean? Right. So my physical he gets incarcerated. He gets incarcerated, and the lessons are on the desk. You know what I mean? So something just, I'm like, and I started just going through it, just seeing what's on this Negro's mind. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? And it piqued my interest. But, I was like, and not it's like whatever. So he writes on a piece of paper, in a notebook, he write the name Wise Intelligent. He tear it out of the notebook and he give it to me. He's like, this is your name right here. This is what I'm gonna call you from now on. That's your name. That's you. And I'm like, whatever, man. You know what I mean? I ignored it. But, all his homies, all his homies had to call me that. You know what I mean? So call me, like they say, it ain't what they call you, is what you respond to. Sure, you know what I mean? Because I was called a lot of things as a kid. Blackie, Bonzi, get your black ass. You know what I mean? I was called a lot of things, yo. You know what I mean? But it's what you respond to. You know what I mean?
Right.
I chose to respond to Wise Intelligence. So I started studying and mathematics and Nation of God's Earth 5%, and that's what did it for me. That's what sent me down the rabbit hole. Down the black hole. Right. And it was up from there. It was up.
Yeah, I mean, you had to take it hard. You went from Blackie to Wise Intelligent to having a group called Poor Righteous Teachers. You embraced that shit hard. So how did that come about? Because again, it's like it's a journey, right? So how did the whole Poor Righteous Teachers concept come about? And the first time I ever caught wind of y'all was, I don't know what that bridge is in Trenton, but y'all was on the joint dancing, talking about rock this funky joint. But at the same time, it piqued my interest because I used to, go to New York, and I got some lessons from Firstborn Prince. So around the same time, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't know what they're talking about, but it sound good. You know what I'm saying? So around that time, I see what you all are doing on this bridge and whatnot, and it's like, yo, they call themselves Poor Righteous Teachers. Let me look into it. Then later on, it was, I believe it was Shakila, my queen, I don't remember if that was the same album or not. But I mean, like, how did you go from that particular dynamic to the MC and choosing that group name?
Well, we were always in the hip hop. We were always in the hip hop. First music genre really that resonated with our generation of youth. Speaking the language we could understand, and the barrier to entry was low. You didn't need to know how to play guitar. You didn't need to know how to play drums. You didn't have to own a drum set or a guitar. You didn't have to have a lot of money to do it. So we were always in the hip hop. So Coach and I, we have been, since 11, 12, we would make little tapes at his grandmother's house on her little stereo, to run DMC instrumentals. We would get the 2 years ago vinyl, put the flip side on, play the instrumental and just rap for an hour. Just run it back, make hour-long tapes, and then just listen to ourselves. But as far as, Poor Righteous Teachers, I started writing, I started writing about 13, really writing 14, 15. I started writing. Culture left the neighborhood. Culture was living in a different part of the neighborhood. Culture was living in the north side, and he was with another group. He got with another group called the God Squad. And the God Squad was popping. They were like the dopest dudes. MC Rajan, Culture on beatbox. They were hard, and Culture always wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to do something outside of God Squad or whatever. I was right. So Culture started getting equipment and everything, turntables. So I started going to his house, his room in the projects, and we started making records. I was with another group. When Culture was with God Squad, I was forming another group with another 5% and Godfather. And that ain't work out, and me and Culture just kept working. Me and Culture had been solid since we were like 11, 12. So we started making music. We like, okay, we need a name. And it was like, Poor Righteous Teachers, what else would we be? It's like everybody in our neighborhood, the projects was called Divine Land. The projects was called Divine Land. Everybody, the 85% called it Divine Land. It's just what it was. Even to this day, it's DLP, Divine Land Projects. It's DLP. You go up there, everybody's like that. It's DLP. It's like, this is what it is. So being a 5%er was a part of the aesthetic of the neighborhood. Ciphers in the park, ciphers everywhere. The school we went to, junior high school, was right across the street from the projects on Martin Luther King Boulevard. So when you come out of the school, the God's on the corner across the street at the bodega, corner store kids, corner kids, like deep, just building lessons, so that's what we were. We were Poor Righteous Teachers, so yeah, that's where it went. That's where it went. It had to go there. So that's how we became Poor Righteous Teachers. We were just making tapes in the projects, and the heads in the projects, would ride around with them joints in their Jeeps. We were starting to grow. People were starting to become aware of us, and it went where it went. Long story short.
Nah, so that's ill. So y'all had the tapes was floating around, cats rocking with them because that's what it was. It was sort of like anthem music is what it sounded like, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We was from the projects. We were putting together some good songs. And we was corner kids.
Right.
We was corner kids. We were the kids on the corner. We were on the corner every day. We were cutting the classes. We were smoking all the weed. You know, we were in and out of the streets. We was selling the crack. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just, it was what it was. You know, we were young. We were learning some things. You know, everything that we learned on that corner from people on the corner on the block, Roselle, Beak Street, Martin Luther King Boulevard. You know, we were who we were. You know, we were in and out of youth detention centers. You know, so people knew us. You know what I mean? People knew us. You know, so we start to bubble in the hood, man. You know, the heads driving the joints, playing the joints in their Jeeps all summer long. You know, and then we ended up putting out a single on vinyl, and from there it was up.
So was that on Profile first, or was that independent? Y'all was on Profile, correct? Or no?
Independent first. You know
okay,
I mean?
word.
Independent. Profile was independent, but Profile was the biggest independent in the country.
Right.
You know, we put our stuff out on the independent from our projects, Northside Records. Northside Records was founded by Eric IQ Gray. And it was, you know, we pressed it on vinyl, manufactured cassettes. You know what I mean? The hood chipped in, the whole hood, the whole block. Everybody on the block was just like, boom, here you go, boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Corner kids financed the vinyl and the cassettes and all that. So yeah, I mean, we put the record out, and Red Alert, you know what I mean? Red Alert played it. You know what I mean? Gave it to Red Alert, put it in his hands. Red Alert played it. Not only did he play it, Red Alert took the record to Profile and said, yo, y'all want to know what's next? It's these dudes right here. It's these brothers right here.
So did you already know him, or this was just courtesy of that?
We didn't know. We didn't know Red at the time. You know, he gave the record to an A&R at Profile Records. I think it was Manny. He gave the record to, and they hit us up like, yo, y'all want to put this record out? He was like, yeah, why not? But yeah, that's how that happened. But you know, it was a process in between that process. You know, it was so we were going to put it out on another label in the neighborhood before we put it on Northside Records.
And what record was that? Is this one of the more popular?
Diversity Records. Diversity Records was owned by Tim Baylor.
No, I'm saying the song itself.
Oh, the song was "Time to Say Peace." It's "Time to Say Peace" with Butt Naked Booty Bless and Word Is Bomb on the flip. Yeah,
that's heavy duty. So you get the call from Profile, and you already know what time it is at Profile. They already had like Run DMC. I'm trying to think who else they had at the time.
King Son, Special Ed.
Okay.
Special Ed. They had Sweet Tea. They had Dana Dane.
Yeah, so it was a great opportunity for y'all to get on that particular joint. So you already know what time it is when they called you. It wasn't like you had to guess, you know, what label it was.
Right.
Or so what goes on from there? You're still in the projects. I know we talked in the past and whatnot, but there's somebody that's listening that ain't never heard the story. You know what I'm saying? Y'all on tour in the whole nine. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we still in the projects. You know, we still, we making records. You know, thing is, when Profile hit us, we were just gonna do the single deal. You know, and they asked us, were we interested in doing an album? Could we do an album? We were like, all right, we could do an album. They was like, how soon could you record an album? How long would it take? How you think you can get an album to us? And we're like, it's already done. I mean, we were always recording. So like, all right, so we flipped the album, got the release date. We were doing some promotional gigs, Philly, New York. And but we were project kids, you know, we were still in the projects. So we go on our first tour after we dropped the album in 90. We go on our first tour. The tour bus pull up in the projects. We all still living in the projects. You know what I mean? And heads right off the block, just jump on the tour bus. Boom, 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 boom. We rolling. We did. That's just what it was. I mean, heads ain't getting no parent permission slips or nothing. You know what I mean? We was just like out. And we used to get in the mix with a lot of people that early on. Like right now, it's like people don't look at PRT like that. People look at PRT like we went to college. We lived in a suburban neighborhood, smart guys, but I mean, and I appreciate it, man. I'm glad that's how I look today. I'm glad that's how we look today. I'm glad we survived that.
No doubt.
I'm glad we survived that and got to this point where, we can talk about it in jest, but
Yes.
we stayed in the mix, man. We stayed in the mix. We stayed in fights. At least our first five gigs turned into straight riots. Like everybody's fighting.
It's the audience or the other artists?
Us and the audience. Us,
Wow.
the audience, the other artists, it didn't even matter, man. Something always popped up because we had like 30 dudes with us all the time. Something's bound to go, something bound to happen.
All the time.
All the time. We were deep all the time,
Yeah. So, I mean, who was like the first group y'all was rocking with tour wise? You know what I'm saying? Was it just an individual tour or?
So the first show we did that let us know we were on our way somewhere was with EPMD in Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Right.
Yeah, and that went.
EPMD was hot.
Yeah, and that went nuts. That show didn't even get finished. That show didn't even get. We ended up jumping off stage in the crowd in a fight. You know what I mean? I kid you not, my man still got video footage of that. I told him, I was like, you put that video footage out, it's going viral, bro. That's all hip hop. Poor Righteous Teachers jumping off the stage when we was like teenagers.
Right.
In a whole brawl, yo. It's crazy, but then we went on our first national tour was with Ice Cube. It was it was the Street Knowledge Tour. Poor Righteous Teachers, Ice Cube, Too Short, D Nice, Yo Yo, Freshco and Miz was on that tour. Kid Rock did some of the dates on that show. Kid Rock was a rapper at that time. He was just a rapper, straight rapper, making rap with a box. I can't even call it a
Talk
box.
about that. Yeah. He's looking like Vanilla Ice or somebody.
Yeah. He had the straight moose joint up. Yeah, I mean, straight moose after he get off stage, it'd be all hanging down in his face like Van Halen. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, Kid Rock was on there. Too Short actually produced that Yodeling in the Valley single that he put out. I think that was the first single, one of the first singles, if not the first single Kid Rock ever put out, Yodeling in the Valley, 12-inch. Yeah.
That's wild. That sounds like a wild ass tour. You talking about Ice Cube, Too Short, because around this time Cube is on the knowledge kick. This is after he leaves NWA, correct?
Right. It was Ice Cube and the Lynch Mob for sure.
Yeah. So he probably Khaled before Khaled, slapped him back. Yeah. That's an interesting joint.
Yeah, for sure. It was very interesting. You know what I mean? All type of shit used to happen at the malls, everywhere, man.
I mean, I can only imagine, man. I mean, nobody would think Kid Rock, Too Short, Poor Righteous Teacher, and Ice Cube. That shit sound like.
Yeah. So that's one of the things, that's one of the things that I point out in the book, that in our era, the playlist was so diverse,
right,
that it represented more than a single urban lifestyle and attitude. It was various lifestyles and attitudes from Black America in the hip hop platform of rap at the time. So if I was a youth from a college, a college student, and I came to a show, I could see artists that I could relate to, artists that went to college, I could see artists that weren't in the streets. I could see artists that were on there's different things. And if I was a kid from the streets, self-proclaimed gangster, self-proclaimed pimp, or whatever I was calling myself, I could find that in the tour or in the mainstream playlist at the time, and that was an advantage for us, you know what I mean? Because, like I said, kids can find an attitude or lifestyle that resonates with them. They wasn't being, they wasn't conform. They didn't have to conform to something, because today kids are like, if you ain't gangster, you ain't lit.
Yeah, you ain't saying that.
You ain't saying that, you know what I mean? But
right.
My era is a little different.
No, and that's wild, because I'm thinking back just on the whole thing. We talk about projects and now how I think it was you I heard on one of these films where you were saying that and it might have been something Brand Nubian sampled, if I'm not mistaken, about you live in the projects don't live in. I'm paraphrasing. Was that you or my?
Yeah, I did say that. That was Rhyme and Reason, I believe. Rhyme and Reason documentary or HBO.
Yeah. Okay, and then Brand Nubians sampled it for, I think, the Foundation album. But I'm thinking about that because, same thing. We both come from projects, and it's like, the one thing that I do is I salute cats who survived and was able to move beyond that, because we both still know people that we can find when we go back home because they're in the same area. You understand what I'm saying? The project I grew up in doesn't exist anymore, but that mentality still exists. You understand what I'm saying? So it's still some folks that, whether they was locked up for X amount of years, or if they was able to skate off, you know what I'm saying, or end up getting popped, or whatever the case is, they still there, and you still love them for who they are, and they still root for you for who you are. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, folks will look at you and they assume something different. You know what I mean? So every now and then, I used to say, every now and then you got to educate a motherfucker, because they think shit's sweet. You know what I'm saying? So I can imagine just being around you, the many times I have, you a dude that kind of blends in. You know what I'm saying? There's been several occasions we've been in the same room, and I just happen to look over, and I done passed by you like 3 times or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just, you ain't trying to be flashy, you like inconspicuous. Has that helped you to maintain as far as just on the MC tip? Because at the same time, and I complimented you in the beginning on the lyrics, you are an MC. There are a lot of artists, there's a lot of rappers, so on and so forth, but coming from that particular era, there's not a lot of MCs who's maintained that. You have certain artists that's still going off of their same catalog from back in the day. And I respect that if you could do it, but you constantly not necessarily reinvent yourself, but you work on those mastering your lyrics. Has that helped you as far as growth wise, as far as just maintaining a certain type of balance, the way you've moved? I know I went all over the place, but
yeah, I think I understand one of the questions, but yeah, I mean, yeah, we from where we from. You know what I mean, we're from where we're from. But again, it's about the expansion of consciousness, right? Consciousness got to expand and contract. You gotta learn, you gotta unlearn, you gotta relearn. And that process has to wash, rinse, and repeat. And that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at. And I at like 13, 14, I started reading. I started reading a lot because of the 5%. The 5%, I attribute my love for books and study 100% to the 5%.
Right.
Before that, I was like, fuck a school.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. I went from fuck a school to getting caught stealing books from the library.
Right.
You know what I mean? From the public library, like big ass African American almanacs. They get big ass almanacs and shit. Like
you're the reason we had no books in the library, right?
Exactly. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, just expanding the consciousness, man, and learning and going forward, and I've always been the type of person that, I'm an Aries. They say it's an Aries characteristic. I bore easy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I bore easy, so I'll get bored with something. You know what I mean? So there's no way I was going to be stuck in what I did in 1990 as an artist.
Right.
I had to keep evolving. I had to keep evolving the craft, skill, because it'll bore me. And I get bored. I get bored with places like that too. You know what I mean? I gotta go somewhere else. I gotta move around a little bit. But the hood is the hood. The hood is the hood, but it's a lot to learn there.
Right.
It's like when your perspective shifts, when you change your mind, when you change the way you see things, the things you see change, right? You know what I mean? So even in the hood, it's like I'm looking at the hood and we all here and we run around the hood, nothing up, but not understanding the dynamics of
Right.
the ghetto, not understanding what a project is. We thinking the projects is home. This is you live. You know what I mean? So we have generations of project residents. You know what I mean? People who their grandkids is still in the projects, right?
To this day.
As
Right.
grown-ups, right?
Right.
So it's crazy because the projects, it should be a place to get your thing together. You're paying $19 a month in rent.
It's a raft. It's supposed to be a raft to get you to dry land.
You know what I mean? But you're not looking at it like that. You just in the hood. You just there. You in the hood and you thinking this is home.
Right.
So you develop certain behaviors and attitudes and conceptions of the reality that don't serve you well.
Right.
And don't serve your community well. You start to learn things, man, like, concentrated poverty, how poverty is concentrated. You know what I mean? Trenton is 7 square miles. I mean, Trenton is 7 square miles, yo.
I think I know all of y'all that's out there. I mean,
you know what I mean? The public high school had a 71% poverty rate.
Right.
It's like
71% poverty in a
at the high
7
school.
pound.
At the high school, yes. You know what I mean? The city had a 24% poverty rate. Now, let's put that in perspective. A 24% poverty rate when the surrounding suburbs, Princeton had like a 1.9% poverty rate. Washington Township had like a 2.1% poverty rate. So Trenton was absorbing all the poverty obligation of those surrounding suburbs, those affluent communities. Cherry Hill, Princeton, Washington Township, Franklin Township. You know what I mean? So Trenton was absorbing all of this poverty. Newark was absorbing poverty. Camden was absorbing poverty. And these were the places, the epicenters of Black life in New Jersey.
Right.
So you have all this poverty in this little space, and there's policies that shape this reality. There are policies that created these loopholes for the affluent communities to defer their poverty obligation to places like Trenton. So for decades, Trenton was absorbing more than its obligation to poverty, in the distribution of poverty, and so you have the poverty rates that I just mentioned. You have Trenton developing 664 units of low-income housing a year and just piling poverty on top of poverty. So concentrating poverty like that, you're concentrating poverty crimes as well. You got a lot of people who are destitute and desperate, so you get what you get, but when you start doing that math, and that was my thing. I was like, the math, it's like, we on the math, we on supreme mathematics, you know what I mean? We going through the math, do the math, do the knowledge, do the math. So I'm like, when we start doing this math, when we start doing the statistical math on the data of the environment we're living in, we start to understand our behavior a little better. We start to understand why we think how we think. We start to understand these things, and that's when you can start to undo it. It's like, then you can see that, this was a math problem. This is a math problem, and we need an inverse operation to solve it. So you start doing that math. You start doing the solving of the problems.
So how do you combat this? Because I mean, and it's like I know some real good people that come up out of Trenton. right? It's some real, you mentioned Divine, shout out to Divine a lot. You know what I'm saying? Folks like that who do their best, the Tracy Syfaxes and you know what I'm saying, and some of the other what's my brother name, the love coach. You know what I'm saying? I think he taught you how to I was gonna say something crazy with that. I can't think of the bad name. Shout out to him too. Um, you know what I'm talking about. I can't think of his name right now. Him and his wife, they do the coaching, love coaches.
Mansho Edu.
Yes, Marshall. Shout out to Marshall, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, y'all have some the people, but yet still, and this speaks to the whole myth of pulling yourself up by your bootstrap. That bullshit. Because when you have concentrated poverty, you know what I'm saying, when it's compounded, that's the thing that I think that we in Bridgeport have in common, and that places like Detroit and so on and so forth, the Elizabeths and all that, pre-gentrification, it's like these are places that you have no choice but to turn to quote unquote crime due to the conditions. It's like they're piling everybody on top of everything and canceling the so-called industries and jobs. They're moving out, so on and so forth. So how do we combat that? Like in your guesstimation, if you say something, I'm not asking you to save the people, but I'm saying, like, in your mind, what is the solution to combat this?
Yeah, I would begin with the school systems, right? I believe we have to take absolute control. The community has to take absolute control of the public school systems in our communities, where the student body is 90+% Black. We need to revamp the entire curriculums, from Taylorism and this create workers, this antiquated factory worker school curriculum, and center them, and center them. I think that's where it begins. I think that's where the revolution, the change will start to begin, and where it could affect the most youth at the same time.
Right.
And I mean, here's the thing. I'm from Trenton, New Jersey, grew up in the projects, product of public schools in Trenton, didn't graduate from nothing. I ain't graduated from nothing. I think the block was the only thing I graduated from. The corner was the only thing I graduated from, but my sons, also born in Trenton, also went to schools in Trenton, but they went to African-centered schools. My eldest son went to African People's Action School, and my youngest Che went to the Garvey School, two African-centered schools, right? Private, no government funding, no charters, none of that, right? And they're turning out 99% graduation rate, 99% graduation rate. The youth are all excelling, going to secondary education, and they're community focused and conscious of what's happening in their community. They stay in touch with each other, and all the parents know each other. And what the African Center schools is. Atlanta got like 40,000 of them. You know what I mean? Atlanta got like
on one block.
Yeah, I mean, so
and we support all of them.
Exactly. So and my thing was always, the community have to adopt that model.
Absolutely.
At the public school level, right. and I'm not even talking about, we can get into the politics of government funding and all that, right. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that model has to be expanded to the greater community because it works. It right. works. All the data on education, pedagogy, and schooling, indicate that Black youth who are learning in curriculums that focus on racial pride Black history, the students perform at a higher level.
Right.
And that's just human. That's just human. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about what you're learning because you see yourself in it. And I mean, the public school, you don't see yourself in it, outside of a slave, and that helps foster the condition. It helps nurture the condition that poverty is a part of. So it's layers and layers and layers and layers. But the public school system, I think, is where we can really get a handle on some of this because we can start shifting culture. At a young age. Like Jeffrey Canada in Harlem, he had the Harlem Children's Zone, and that was a charter situation, right? He had the school in Harlem, and then for a 2-mile radius around the school, every business, every household, they went personally to all of them and got them to buy into the idea of we're going to protect these students within this range. So the businesses, whether it was a barbershop, a salon, mentor some kids in this barbershop, mentor some of the students from the school in this salon, the auto body shop, what you do, what you do, turn it into a program to help mentor these youth. You see these youth coming home, make sure they get home safe. So everything in that 2-mile radius bought into the idea of the school. They created a little village, lit a fire around it. They put a firewall around it and say, hey, this is it. And everything in here, we protect it.
Yeah. So it's a form of decentralizing the public school system and at the same time uh, having some type of community control. And that's it goes back to what we talked about in the beginning, the whole aspect of culture, right? And that is the importance of culture because, like you said, I can attest to it. The majority of the quote unquote African centered schools that I've run across, the students, like you said, it's a higher learning experience. And some folks argue, well, how can they compete on a world level? Of course they can compete on a world level. Folks have this confusion that because you're pro-black, that means that you are narrow in your thinking. It means that
Wow.
you are, yeah. It's like, and it's crazy because it's usually, unfortunately, it's African or indigenous or whatever you choose to call it, people who come up with this concept. And it's like a way of self-sabotage. It's like, listen, nah, man, you know what I'm saying? Well, they talk about Yorugu and they talk about this and we all human and all this other bullshit. And at the end of the day, you know, it's not even about, I mean, some folks won't even go to damn a PTA meeting. A board meeting is like, that's unheard of. Of
Right.
course, we're anti electoral politics, but in a place like Trenton, when you're talking about 7 square miles, I mean, you stand a better chance of electing your own community, representatives,
Right.
and that's where electoral politics can be used as a tool. So
Right.
I don't know what So with all that being said, it's like I know we run out of time. There's so much we could talk about, but we're in hip hop. 50 years of hip hop. Do you see it as evolving or devolving right now? And when I'm talking about hip hop, you can go culture or industry, what have you. You know what I mean? And we talked about how it's impacted, you know. But like right now, if you were to give it a grade based on, and I don't even know, some of us don't even agree that it's just 50 years or whatever. Some of us, I mean, we look at the last poets, we look at a little bit of other things, and last poets alone is 55 years, but that's neither here nor there. We're about to argue what the joint is, but saying 50 years of hip hop, what do we, I mean, what does it look like for you if you were to give it some type of grade?
Here's the thing. I'm a hip hop baby, man. And when I say that, I mean that. Ever since I was a graffiti kid, you know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, I was a graffiti kid. I wrote on everything. I wrote on everything. My
Yeah,
clothes,
the magnums,
my
fat magnums.
walls, my bedrooms, the walls in the community. I wrote on everything. I had spray paint. I was in spray paint the hallways, the projects where we lived. I mean, I wrote on top of the pissy walls, everything. Yeah, I just write. You know what I mean? So graffiti, you know, I love break dancing. I love break dances. You know, the only thing I didn't do as a hip hop kid was DJ. That was the only thing I didn't do as a hip hop kid, but I carried the crates. I carried crates for DJ T-Bone in my hood. You know what I mean? I was like 13 years old carrying crates, heavy ass crates, because that was the only way I could get in. Right? It was the only way I can get in the party. So I mean, I'm carrying crates. You know, hip hop, man. I love hip hop. And for me, right? So my orientation into hip hop, my views on hip hop, they haven't changed, and that's because I know that all of those things that made me love hip hop, that made me fall in love with hip hop, are still vibrant. They're still vibrant, right? So just because it's not in the mainstream doesn't mean that it's not still as vibrant as it was when it infatuated me and when I fell in love with it. So I will say this: hip hop is the same. I give hip hop an A+. The grade I'm going to give hip hop is an A+. Because I never let mainstream mediums dictate for me what hip hop is or is not. Now if we talking about mainstream rap shifted, definitely shifted, as the mouthpiece of hip hop culture. Being in the mainstream makes it can be weaponized now. You know what I mean? It has to be weaponized against the group. It has to be, or it can't have space in that platform. It can't be there unless it's a weapon in the hands of the state. It can't exist in that platform with that much influence unless it's a tool of the states. So we get that. You know what I mean? But for me, I'm listening to Saba the Goddess. I'm listening to Cy Rock, the MC. I'm listening to Black Sun. You know what I mean? I'm listening to people like that. I'm somewhere else, in what I'm listening to. I'm listening to Khaled B. I'm listening to Rex Life Raj. I'm listening to people that are not in heavy rotation, because that's what my love for hip hop does. I'm entrenched in that, so hip hop 50 years, I think, hip hop in 50 years, I think that for me, the low grade, the F that I will give hip hop, I'm going to give hip hop a F in its failure to build community from the revenue that has been generated from hip hop over 50 years. So hip hop is a multi-billion-dollar industry right now. Some say $1 trillion when you add all the residual businesses that use hip hop culture. You know what I mean? Like, for example, graffiti was all bad for a long time. Now you're going to pay $15,000 for some graffiti on a Balenciaga bag.
Shit crazy.
Right? So that money, all the money, all those billions of dollars that's being generated globally from hip hop, but the communities that created it don't see any of that money. They don't see any of the value from the resource that they create, and that is problematic for me. That's the biggest problem for me in terms of hip hop is commercialization, is monetization, at the global level. The community is seeing less than 0.05% of the receipts that come from a culture that we create. So it's like a lot of cultural extraction going on as per usual. Other groups came in, they set up trading posts around hip hop, extracted all the wealth out, and that's what they do. Like I'm in the not-for-profit space. I've been in the not-for-profit spaces, community space, working with youth, and they have these language. It's a whole nother language in each level of the society that you go in. You know, and our communities are considered under-resourced communities.
Right.
Right. It's like these, Trenton, under-resourced community, Connecticut, where you're from, is an under-resourced community. We consider them under-resourced communities. But I'm like, no. You're wrong. I always got to push back on that. It's not an under-resourced community. It's an over-extracted community.
Exactly.
The community has ample resources. It's like the African proverb, everything the village needs is already in the village, but everything that the village has is being extracted out by other people. Whether it's dollars, whether it's dollars, whether it's cultural resources like hip hop, whether it's academic genius, whether it's athleticism, whatever it is being extracted from the community at the point of purchase, like instantly, because we haven't built the institutions or developed the institutions to capture those resources for the benefit of the communities that produce them. And that's why I have issues with hip hop. So one of the things that I'm doing in that regard is I'm launching a record label. It's I don't know if it's the first of its kind. I'm not sure. I haven't done it, and I'm not even worried about if anybody's ever done it before. I'm doing it. So it's a community-based record company controlled by youth in the community. The youth produce the music, they A&R it, they do everything, they generate all the capital, they monetize it, they attach the revenue generated from it is distributed to community organizations that are building community, that are doing things in the community. So everything, the recording studio is at the label. They're going to run that. You're going to run the label, the streaming, all of that. They choose what goes out. They're going to do all of that. Community-based record companies set up for resource capture. Just resource capture, try to capture some of the resources coming out of communities. And I think that we need more of that. It's just like with the schools. These things could be attached to the school in some way.
Right.
All our kids want to make music. They like to make music. But what happens is because we don't develop the institutions, they end up somebody come and set up a trading post, and next thing you know, we all on the ship.
It's funny that you say attached to the school. I actually started a program in the school system in Connecticut back in 2001, and it was Hip Hop University Cultural Initiative. And we centered on everything from teaching the children about, hip hop culture, revolution through hip hop for health. You know what I'm saying? But we had a little 8-track digi studio at the time. So the kids could go in there and do their little demos. We was taking them to places like 106 and Park. We was taking them to they had a public access TV show that they put together, all that type thing, and that lasted for a year before they realized that my politics didn't match their politics. So I was written out of the program. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if the program still exists, but for a time it did. But to your point, just on the old trading post thing, man, it's like, you got to be able to really embrace it and have full control, or you know what I'm saying, you'll be, next thing you know, you'll be on the outside. They've extracted all your resources, your what do you call it, your intellectual property, so on and so forth. And next thing you know, you're talking about it on RSTV.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. But I want to, in closing, before we jet, I know that you are the president of Rap Snack Foundation, right? So will that be ran through that particular piece? And can you talk a little bit on that? Because I know that, you've been involved with the whole Rap Snack situation for a minute. And, so if you don't mind talking about that, because I know that you talked about the whole industry side and how the culture has been pimped by other people. You know what I'm saying? So, tell us a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Absolutely. The programs will be working through Rap Snacks Foundation. So Rap Snacks Foundation, for me rewind a little bit. Rap Snacks launched in 1994. When Rap Snacks launched in 1994, my brother James Lindsay, graduate Cheney University, He launched Rap Snacks in 1994. There was no rappers on the bags. It was a Potato, MC Potato. You know what I mean? And we met in 96, 2 years after that, after the initial launch, and through a mutual friend from Trenton. And so I did a couple commercials for the brand to run on radio, Power 99, and other hip hop stations, I guess. And our relationship just developed. Our relationship developed. So we rocking real hard, and James been rocking ever since. So Rap Snacks started to go, and then when record labels started to come under scrutiny for vandalizing, defacing public property with stickers and posters, an opportunity arose. All right, use this bag as the new sticker. Use this bag as the new poster. So Universal Music Group approached Rap Snacks to promote their artists on the bags, and it just made sense. And Rap Snacks was doing what it do. James ran it we were working out of Manioc. We were rocking out of Manioc in Philadelphia, for a few years. And after which James was approached with an opportunity to manage Meek. So James started managing Meek. He managed Meek Mill for 10 years, handling certain business for Meek. And 2016, wanted to do a relaunch of Rap Snacks. Now, remember when it popped off in 94, all the way up to 2015, there was no internet activity for Rap Snacks. The internet wasn't as big as it is in 2000, for 10 years after the launch. So from 94 to 2004, so the opportunity changed. Relaunch. James like, you want to relaunch the joint. And so he relaunched in 2016, and he always is to tell me, we start a foundation. Start a foundation, to leverage the success of Rap Snacks into community, into the community, so that the community can benefit from the success of Rap Snacks. And that's my thing with hip hop. I feel like all hip hop organizations, all hip hop companies should be functioning this way. All of them should have a real community organization, a real foundation, or some type of movement in the community where success revenue is coming back to the community in some form or fashion to help resolve or solve some of our problems as a people, as a group. So launched the foundation 2018, and then I moved to Miami. Well, I got a spot in Miami. I still live in Atlanta, but
he tried to diss us, man. I'm saying? Everything was cool. He was coming by with the vegan pork chops and everything. Down in Miami. I'm like, yo, like, what's up with this dude, man? So yeah, it's all good. Continue on. I'm sorry.
So yeah, we launched the foundation, and we wanted to focus on again, how to capture those resources, how to capture cultural resources, how to build institutions that could sustain themselves, sustainable programs. If we're going to do a program, this program is going to have to sustain itself. So each of the programs have its own economic model attached to it to generate revenue on its own, so that we won't be begging. So you won't be out here always, asking somebody for money all the time to do the work that needs to be done, when we can just build financial institutions inside of these spaces, with young people, teach them how to, do the business, generate the capital. It's like, in our community, especially on this side of the conversation, the riot starter side of the conversation, Black Power media side of the conversation, you know, you can't, you know, you can, but you get a lot of blowback, you know, from when you're doing anything economic. You're doing anything financial, you know, people like you said, his shirt ain't made of African cloth. You know what I mean? His shirt ain't made of kente cloth. You know what I mean? That nigga's off. You know?
Exactly.
But
fuck his shirt.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you know, so it's like, you know, it's like entrepreneurship is not liberation. That ain't gonna free us. This ain't gonna do it. Yeah, I mean, that ain't gonna do that. And it's like, it's all tools. It's all tools. It's this, you know, it's all pieces on a chessboard. You know what I mean? And my position on all of it is deploy all of it. Deploy all of it, whatever it is. You know what I mean? It all can be deployed to your advantage in some way. You have to learn it. You have to know it. You have to apply it where it applies. You know, if Hillary Clinton can use hip hop to undermine governments around the world, we can use hip hop to build community in whatever way we see possible. And I think that we need to be on that, you know, and that's just my thing. I feel like we underutilizing what's available to us because we have these notions about what revolution is and what it ain't, you know, when meanwhile, it's like all the revolutions that we romanticize in history, they all had a financial arm, you know. We talk about the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese Revolution. We talk about, you know, Mao Zedong and all of this. I mean, I'm like, man, you don't know how many capitalist enterprise this guy had around the country, around the world, around the globe. Yeah, I mean, there were Chinese businesses in San Francisco supporting what he was doing in China. You know, so you have to think that way. You have to think that way, man. I mean, you know, we talk about FARC and all of these organizations, all these movements, man. FARC down there shipping kilos of cocaine. Like, yo, listen, we whatever we got to do to overthrow these people, get these people heel off our neck. That's what we going to do. But at the end of the day,
no, go ahead.
You know what I'm getting at, man. It's just wild. You know, I always say, man, you know, we love Sam Greenlee. We love Dan Freeman, you know. We love Spook, who sat by the door, but most of the heads on this side of the conversation, without the Spook, he would have to prove that he would have to. They would strip him down. He would have to have on Coochie Kente cloth boxes. He would have to have on Coochie Kente cloth drawers up in his joint, yo. He would have to prove it. He would have to show it. You know what I mean? So it's like. So they would expose.
But what you're saying, though, even that, not to cut your bill, but I agree with what you're saying. And the funny thing, I interviewed Sam Greenlee one time, and I was disappointed because he got on like, oh, man, it ain't about, I ain't even say nothing yet. He just thought I was about to go, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was disappointing. All right, rising power to him. But to your point, most of the critics, they don't get dirty. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that we was on a panel one time before and talking about how being a revolutionary don't make you righteous. You understand what I'm saying? And folks get it confused. It's like, listen, everybody that's for the same thing might not be against the same thing. Everybody against the same thing might not be for the same thing. When you talking about decolonization, in order for you to talk about revolution, you have to be ready to go to extreme lengths. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're talking about violence. You're not talking about how good a paper I can write. You're not talking about how good I can rap. You're not talking about how good RSTV could be. You know what I'm saying? I had to check a brother the other day because, you know, we get caught up in the internet. And as our brother Tahir would say, internet is one thing, but real life is another. You understand what I'm saying? So because you see me in this chair, because you see us talking about what we're talking about right now, this ain't the totality. Again, this is a tool. You know what I'm saying? I know comrades that won't even get on the screen. They support it. They'll watch it. They won't log in. They won't type their name in the joint. But I know that they're checking it out, and I know that they're down more than a lot of folks that you'll see in the front of the camera. You know what I'm saying? So we get confused by, like you said, like I told, because I remember a brother told me one day, told me some man, see, I'm the spook that sat by the door. I said, man, you ain't the spook that sat by the door. You a nigga sitting by the door spooked. And that's what most of these cats are. That shit sound good. You know what I'm saying? It sound good while you talking about it, but in the real world, you know what I'm saying? Here we
Yeah.
are.
What does that look like? Exactly. Exactly. And,
Yeah. So
that's just how I see it. You know, I think that we could be doing a lot more. I think that we just have these notions, man. These preconceived notions that you know that we've read about. It's things that we have a lot of romantic ideas around things.
but do you think it's fair? Because I think that honestly, to me, it's the sidetracking of the slave. It's like, oh, that shit ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, what you doing? Oh, you a critic. That's gonna win in revolution. We just gonna critique shit to death. I mean, like, what's your thoughts on that? Because I mean, to me, I'm short of saying that it's some sucker shit. Because if you I feel that there unfortunately there's so many people who consider themselves quote unquote a part of a movement or quote unquote being conscious or intellectuals or whatever the case is that have that hate us more than they hate the quote unquote enemy. They dislike, there's a disdain because of the fact that you're reminding them that you ain't doing shit but talking. So let me critique what you doing because it'll make me look good. And then everybody be like, yeah, he heard what he said about this one. Fuck with your mouth, say what your hands do. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I know my brain is running right now.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I think that a lot of us do get stuck in. Too many of us get stuck in the debate of it all. You
Right.
know, and I understand we have to do these analysis. We have to, break things down and understand them for what they really are. You know, uh, we have to be able to identify what's real and what's not. We have to be able to identify who's who. You know, um, in the community. I agree with all that. I just think that sometimes the critical analysis be more critical than analytical. You know,
Absolutely.
so I think we can get past it, but we are getting past. Some of us have. I mean, all of us ain't in that space, but it's just that those of us who are make more noise than those of us who are not. It's like all the negative things. All the negative things are loud. They're very loud.
Right.
Whereas the things that are positive and making a positive impact, they're not as loud. You know, and again, we have this notion, man. It's like I'm like, we don't need everybody to wake up. We don't need everybody to wake up. And we have this
No.
thing where we got to wake everybody up. Everybody got to wake up. Everybody got to be on this certain level of consciousness. When it's just not true. It's just not true. And then if that was true, what does that even look like? Has that ever been the case? You think about this system that we're living under. It was established by a handful of people.
Right.
It was established by a handful of people who said, "This is what we're going to do." You have 50 men sit in a room and then chart the course for 300 million people. You know what I mean? And you got revolutionary niggas talk about they want their constitutional rights. You know what I
Right.
mean? So,
Right. Right.
so at the end of the day, I mean, it's like it doesn't take all of us to wake up.
Right.
It takes a handful of us, one of us, two of us, four of us, six of us, eight of us. You know what I mean? To establish institutions, to set up a, a movement, a process for developing power.
No doubt.
Process for developing power. A standard operating procedure for the development of power, and committing to that. You know, like even the United States economy was established by 4 people. 4 people: John David Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, Andrew Carnegie. I mean, those dudes. You know, so say what?
I said I think DuPont, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, DuPont and them dudes, man, they actually created this economy and the school system that came with it.
Right.
And the school system that came with it.
Right.
So you know, so what happened was they created institutions, and those institutions that they created, those life-sustaining institutions that they created, were designed to sustain the lives of white people. First and foremost, right? First and foremost, they're the default citizen for the benefits of those life-sustaining institutions. But it was only 4 people. You know what I mean? It's the same way a CB school, you know, the same way an African-centered school under the Council of Independent Black Institutions can sustain students, and students develop well in those spaces. That's the way every institution that's centered in your reality would sustain your life. You just have to get to the business of doing it. You know what I mean? It ain't even, you know, yes, this overarching thing is what it is. But at the same time, we need to, I mean, we got the Chinese restaurant in every hood. Ain't no more black businesses in the hood. Ain't no more black restaurants in the hood. I mean, it's like everything is something else now, you know, so we not on it. Now, I mean, we not on it. And these things they matter. They matter. You know, we could talk all that, you know, mobilizing and overthrowing something that ain't happening right now. That ain't happening. You're gonna have to do it. You need a different approach. You need a different approach. And I'm not saying I have all the answers. I don't, Sway. You know what I mean? I don't have.
I'm glad, because I was about to ask you some shit.
Yeah, I don't got the answer.
You know
what I mean? I really don't.
Yo, I appreciate you coming on. I know it's I've been trying to get Wise back on the joint for like 10 years. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. You know, Cat moved up out the hood. We get in touch with him. Hard to find. What's up with that, man?
You know, running around, man. Just running around, doing things, man, doing things.
Yo, I appreciate you and the fam for real, man. You know what I'm saying? And definitely looking forward to witnessing some of these new ventures. It's necessary. You know what I mean? And you know, it's refreshing to not only talk but to do. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, like I always say, we the greatest rap. We black folks are the greatest rappers alive because we good at that shit. We talk a good game, but that work, that's a whole nother program. You know what I'm saying? That talk themselves out of it. Yeah.
A whole other program, man. And, you know, and that's the thing, man. I'm not even trying to organize workers no more.
Word up.
I'm not even trying to organize doers of the work anymore. I'm like, what can I do? How much of this can I do? That's it. I'm my focus. You know, what can I do? That's not what black community could do for you, but what can you do for the black community? But yo, I'm just saying though, that's
word up.
Man, I feel like, you know, I really believe that it don't take 1 million people to wake up and be on the same thing. It takes 3 people who can create an institution that can benefit 1 million people. Can you create an institution that can benefit 1 million people? When you do that, those 1 million people are going to subscribe to the ideals of that institution. That's what America is. That's what America is. That's what the world is. That's what every nation is. Every nation is that. They have a system set up. They have institutions set up that sustain the people that are under that system. So those people support the system. They do what they need to do to sustain it. And it has some level of continuity because of that. You know how I go, man. The drug dealer pass out turkeys and they letting him sell, and they good with him selling drugs. I mean, it's one of those things, man. You know, so you have, we just have to get about the business of establishing little corners of power. I mean, little things that we control, that we can, you know, sustain the lives of others with. You know, that's what it has to be about. You know, and one person can do that. One person can establish something that benefits 1 million. and that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do. I mean, you always banging for the people. You always banging for the people. You always on the front of the front line.
Appreciate
banging
that.
for the people, yo. And man, anybody who keep them off again, you keep banging on this system like you do, gotta love them, man. You gotta love them, man. That's what it's about at the end of the day, man.
I appreciate that, my man. I was waiting for the joke to come in because you know how we do. It's gotta, I was waiting for the hook. You know what I mean? But,
you know what I mean? I'll be watching you, man. I'll be seeing you all the time. I'll be watching the clips. I'll be seeing you on the news all the time in Atlanta. You know what I mean? While I'm enjoying them neck bones, enjoying a big plate of neck bones.
I'm sharing one of them. Hold them tight.
I mean, open up a neck bone restaurant out here.
You know, vegan neck bones. Get it right.
Vegan neck bones.
Call them rap bones. Hey, love you, brother, man. Stay on top.
Love you back.
Get the love to the family. Keep winning. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
Tell Che I need a ride somewhere if he getting that license and whatnot. See what's up. You know?
For sure. You know what I mean? I'm gonna need some of them golden goblets though.
See, now you messing up. I'm beefing with a lot of rappers these days, man. Be careful.
I'm drinking out of plastic red cups over here. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. Shout out to my sister Sunny, man, who remains sane in spite of like you. Jesus and John the Baptist. We got to get that tour popping for real. I know we tried.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? I think that was before its time.
Yeah, it was.
No doubt.
It might be time now, though.
Man, listen. I suspect. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to make that call. Hey, man. Salute to the fam. Stay on point. Keep winning, and we'll see you soon, brother.
Same. Black Power Media. Ride starter. Let's go.
No doubt. Appreciate you. We are checked. This is RSTV. That was Wise Intelligent, aka the talented Timothy Taylor. If you're not familiar with this catalog, I suggest you go to wiseintelligent.com, and pick up some of the merch. Check out some of the lyrics. He's been in the game for years, and he's always coming through. So definitely, support him. We have a whole lot coming up on RSTV. I'm gonna leave you today with a video that we produced by Lagoon and I, called Forward Motion. And Forward Motion featured Diaspora Black and Wise Intelligent. It's a joint we produced a few years ago. Enjoy this, and we'll see you in the next round. RSTV.
Mass hysteria and losing are widespread across the world. Riots were reported in Monday, and the United Nations is calling for emergency.
Forward motion. That me a deal with yap, forward motion. We on the whole clip, yap, forward motion. That me a deal with yap, forward motion. When we start, now we not go quick, yo. Forward motion. That me a deal with yap, forward motion. We on the whole clip, yap, forward motion. That me a deal with yap, forward motion. When we start, now we not go quick. My brothers and sisters, don't move started. Remember say yes we are higher than average. System repeat, plunder, ravage. Steal our land so they can live lavish. Poison the food, continue the damage. Miscal curriculum, school and college. Forward motion, elevate knowledge. Alpad man, figure let go to college. We're killing chop away in your forehead. One is with your brother means you no more dirt. One is with your sister means you no more dirt. One is with the earth means you more dirt. One is with spirit means you true third. From the beginning we have been original man. Foundation, our original stand. Fulfillment of destiny, original plan. original man. Indio, Kinetan, Kushite, Nupian, Panjigan, Akipilan, Guardians of the land. Dealing with communication has been our ancestral plan. Forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. We on the whole clip of your forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. When we start, we never quit, yo. Forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. We on the whole clip of your forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. When we start, we never quit. Forward motion, never back on, nigga. Get out, drop, stop selling crack, stop pulling triggers. I'm black, you black, he black. Black lives matter, go figure. Equality is equal to white man privilege. Give me that. Give me white man privilege. Pop. White cops purging the pillage. In the urban landscape, the black village. America, white supremacist. You condition cool, just don't get it. RPG is coming soon, them niggas are the realest. Genocide. Yeah, they're gonna kill us. Seven continents wide. Yeah, they're gonna kill us. This is global white supremacy. That is the global enemy. Fire burn white Jesus Christ. Fire burn white Christianity. Forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. We on the whole clip of your forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. When we start, we never quit, yo. Forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. We on the whole clip of your forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. When we start, we never quit.
Young and I'm black and my God call me Atlas. I got the whole world on my shoulders. I am the maker, the owner, the indigenous soul controller. All these devils act like they control us. Send they police to patrol us. I know they set traps, but I'm focused. I trigger the traps if we focus. Knew this your Rugu would do what you Rugu do. Fuck it, come down from me, devil. I knew that your race and your whole population was below replacement level. Fear of genetic annihilation at the end of your dominion. I study your nature, ISIS papers, Dr. Francis Cross Wilson. I'm dominant, you a recessor, so actually time's on my side. Despite your aggression and all the oppression, I'm ever forward. Ain't no way to stop a conscious ghetto god decolonized from a goddamn menticide. 3 brides for the tribe, all wise, civilized, black liberation, nigga, I'll be for Hody. Only black revolutionary homies, straight ahead, Russell Maroon shows told me. Gunshots, that mean forward, lick one, that means rewind. Forward, might select to reload your carbine.
Forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. We on the whole clip of your forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. When we start, we never quit, yo. Forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. We on the whole clip of your forward motion. That me do with your forward motion. When we start, we never quit.